Alright guys, TouchQuabe back again today. Hope you're enjoying your day so far, and today we're going to talk about the current meta in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Yesterday, a number of the teams properly started up their scrims for the upcoming 2021 season, and Chicago are doing very well indeed with this, well, 3 assault rifle meta that effectively they were using last night, and if anything on some maps it's actually 4 assault rifles. How long will this last? Will the MP5 become more viable over time? Will Trey continue to nerf some of these weapons, including the assault rifles? But as it stands right now, and as it looks going forwards, we're certainly going to have like a more AR dominant meta this year. I doubt the Trek are just going to completely nerf all the ARs into the ground, and we're never going to see them have the light of day once again. It definitely seems like even if the MP5 does become more viable, and we get a 2 MP5, 1 Krig, 1 AK-47 meta, or something to that effect, the ARs are still certainly going to be probably the more dominant weapons in the game, and that definitely has some implications for some of these teams we're going to look at over the coming minutes here. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. Also, thank you for 10,000 followers on Twitter yesterday. Pretty remarkable. The Twitter's been blowing up these past several months. So yeah, if you want to contribute to the growth over there, the link will be down in the description box below, as it is for pretty much everything I talk about today. Also yesterday, the Esports Awards happened, so the console rookie and the console player of the year both went to Shotzi, so congratulations to him. Certainly understandable. Could have predicted this one a mile off, and well, as we see right here, he said, it's been a crazy experience so far. So yeah, really touching words from Shotzi. Let's move on to this as well. Sunny B, you guys might remember from the Fnatic team. This is also the Epsilon Esports team from back in the day as well. But the Fnatic team of Tommy, Scraps, Waskin, and Sunny B, so he's going to be returning to the Challenger side. He's been out the scene for a couple of years, so cool to see this name back in the scene if you guys remember him from back in the day. He's a pretty legendary player. Subliners tweet this out then. It has been quite the week. MP5 got nerfed by Treyarch, FFAR got nerfed, M16 got nerfed to some degree, and well, are they knocking on the door of the AK-47? Because it seems to be the best gun still left in the game. Some people would say the Krig is still better, or maybe I should say the Krieg. Not really sure. It says the Krig, but people call it the Krieg. I don't know. I think most people say the Krieg, but let me know if I'm saying that wrong in the comment section below. I'm not really sure what I meant to do. But yeah, who knows? Is the AK-47 getting nerfed? It does seem very strong right now. It's possible that they're going to tone it down somewhat, and if they do, the Krieg is probably going to be the most dominant weapon in the game. Who really knows? Right now, the MP5 isn't getting too much use, and as we saw in scrims last night, a lot of the teams are running like Formal's got the Krieg in his hands, He's got the Krieg in his hands. Scump is almost like a flex roll, has got the AK-47 because the AK can kind of do it all and is good up close and can beam people at long range as well, even though the recoil can be a little bit funky at times. So certainly an interesting meta that we have in the game right now, and there's certainly a number of teams that are going to be happy that this is the meta going forward. And who knows how much is it going to change, as Miles says, players holding onto their AK glasses before Treyarch go to patch it. And if they do, then well, the Krieg is probably going to become the dominant weapon, as RST says. Krieg is better, as well, he certainly thinks right now. And as Attach says, 1 main AR, 1 flex AR, and 2 SMGs is the best meta in Call of Duty, and other people certainly do agree as well. Slasher says, in your opinion, what's the best? 1 AR, 3 subs. On some of the maps, half of them are 2 ARs, 2 SMGs. That's personally what I like seeing as well. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look like we're going to get that meta. And we have seen generally in Treyarch games, they tend to be a little bit more assault rifle heavy. Black Ops 4, especially the ICR and the Maddox, the Sorg only became viable really towards the end of the game when it became a hit scan Sorg, and the SMGs are not hit scans in this game, unfortunately, yet. And so, you know, in previous games as well, you can look back to Black Ops 2, certainly they had viable SMGs that were very good, but they also probably had more viable assault rifles, and that's probably something we're going to see going forward. And certainly some of the teams are in a better position as a result of this. So Scump tweets this out yesterday, or Chicago tweet this out. Scrim season has officially begun. Scump kind of smoking people here with the AK-47. I believe they were scrimming against New York with a Seam on the team. Pretty interesting, right? You've got Envoy using the MP5. The rest of the team is just using, well, AKs and Kriegs. I think if Formula had a Krieg out on at least some of the maps, Scump has the AK-47 outright, and Dashy, I believe, had it out as well. And yeah, this is something which certainly seems to favor some of these teams. Chicago, maybe to at least some degree, maybe some other teams even more than Chicago if we do get like a 3 assault rifle meta. My expectation is over time, Treyarch will develop this into like a 2 AR meta, and we'll probably have like 1 Krieg, 1 AK, and then like 2 MP5s. That'd be the meta I would like to see, but even if that is the meta, still certainly it benefits some teams more than others, because we talked about before the season even began, or before the game even launched, the fact that some of these teams seem to be certainly being built for a game which has assault rifle dominance, right? And if it doesn't happen to be that way, these teams might struggle. Those teams are probably looking at the meta right now and thinking, damn, we made the right call on some of this, and some of the teams also may struggle as a result. There's certainly some teams I think that you know, built, as we're looking at just a second here, for pretty much any meta that they might stumble across, but some teams are certainly going to benefit from this, and I think that OpTic Chicago could well be one of them, given that that one of the main issues we saw with this team was, okay, seems great on paper, Dashy back on this lineup, what a talented player, but if Dashy's forced to run an SMG, like a third SMG, maybe the game doesn't suit him so well. However, if you can use the AK as kind of like a secondary AR type of role, then I think Dashy's going to be much more in his comfort zone, right? And that's certainly a good thing for OpTic Chicago fans. And there's other teams that are in a similar boat as well. Scump's also been using the AK to great effect. It's a very strong weapon right now, absolutely smoking people in this one. Probably have to finish out the video with a clip to something of the same degree. And this tweet as well, like 3 AKs and a Krieg seems to be the meta right now to some degree. I mean, it's kind of crazy how the MP5 is barely getting any use. But Kenny, as we're going to look at in a second, well, actually right here, still getting some decent use out of the MP5. The MP5 is just too good. 94 in 4. He goes right here in a public match. That's one of the best score lines I've seen, given skill-based matchmaking and all that stuff in the game as it stands right now. And Asim says as well to Brian Sage, make SMGs great again, please. This 4 AK meta is just not it. So certainly the AKs seems to be the dominant weapon right now. The Krieg's certainly up there, and this well does benefit certain teams, even if they do dial it back to some degree, which I expect Trek to do. So these are all the teams in the CDL for 2021. Florida Mutineers, we're pretty sure is going to be Skies Awakening, Havoc, and Slacked. Paris Legion, we're really not sure right now. So let's go through the rest of the teams then, starting here with Atlanta FaZe. So this team, honestly, I don't really think it matters too much. They have just so much firepower and so much talent and so much flexibility on this team, it probably doesn't matter too much. Then again, if it is legitimately a 4 assault rifle meta, they might not be as good as some other teams might be, because, you know, BZ, how good is he going to be with the assault rifle? I'm sure he's going to be nasty regardless. I don't really think it affects FaZe too much, whatever the meta is. One team it may affect, though, is Dallas Empire, right? Because, yes, Hukeli, Shotzi are a nasty SMG trio, and they certainly were in Modern Warfare with the MP5s in hand, but with the assault rifles, will they be so effective? I mean, will they be able to use their movement to the same degree if there's barely any MP5s on the map? That's certainly a question you might ask. I think the Royal Ravens are certainly in a nice position regardless here, like Dylan and Alex, as those SMGs traditionally, Zero and Shawnee can run the main assault rifles. I think the Royal Ravens built their team pretty much for any meta that they might come across. Los Angeles Guerrillas is certainly an interesting one. This team would probably prefer a slower game more generally, so it may benefit them a little bit more. We saw this team, or at least the core 3 of this team, without Vivid, have more success in Call of Duty World War II when it tended to be like an STG bar meta with some PPSHs thrown in you know, what might end up being a relatively similar meta actually to how this game ends up a couple of months down the line if there are some nerfs coming into play. Kenny and Slasher actually as your 2 assault rifles, that might work well. Rumored to be Temp here as the 4th player on this team, so certainly TJ, Halley, Temp, maybe TJ runs the only MP5, the other 3 all run AKs or something like that. That actually might benefit this team a lot, and one that I think a lot of people are certainly talking about is the Minnesota Rocker, right? A lot of these teams, as you can see, built their teams frankly for, like, you know, an assault rifle meta. Major Maniac was the big question mark in a similar way to OpTic Chicago, with Dashy maybe not being too comfortable if he has to run an SMG. Certainly Maniac is in a similar position on the Rocker, right? But Attach maybe as your SMG, Priester as your SMG, whatever you want to go with, probably Priester potentially, and then Accuracy, Maniac, and Attach all on AK-47s as it stands right now. That's certainly something which might be kind of promising. Subliners do have some very versatile players as well. Right now they're scrimming with Asim, so I kind of have to use an SMG in that sense, but Matt can certainly use an assault rifle. Hydra can probably use whatever he wants if this does end up being the team, but Asim could be there if these visa issues with Hydra do indeed come to fruition. And then Chicago is the other question, right? Their scrims last night looked very, very solid indeed. Dashy on this assault rifle might make more sense than him on an SMG. Kind of interesting to see Scump on the AK as well. Maybe in an ideal world, Chicago just have a 2 AR, 2 SMG meta for them, where Scump and Envoy can use the SMGs, Dashy and Formally use the assault rifles, and that's probably something that would suit this team the best as possible, because some teams are even more geared towards assault rifle play. Certainly Surge as well, like Octane and Gunless on the assault rifles might make a degree of sense. I think Looney's done it in the past as well, so certainly a lot of these teams are going to be relatively happy with a 3 assault rifle meta. And I guess just to finish off with Toronto, given I've gone through all of the rest of them, Kleenex is your SMG, and then Cami Methods and Bance in theory on the assault rifles, and then Insight as a substitute, who we kind of discussed, okay, why are you getting a main AR as your sub, given you got Methods on the team? But maybe they thought one step ahead of the game, in the sense that there's going to be so many assault rifles on the map, they can bring Insight in for kind of whoever, and it still might work out. So intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Which team do you think benefits the most from this? Which team, loses the most from this, I suppose? And how do you think the meta is going to develop in the coming days? Because things could certainly change quite significantly, as Tony Flame says. A little insight into the core of the buff or nerf decisions. Time to kill is always king. It's paramount to preserve the best TTK experience across weapons over time. When a weapon far exceeds the baseline, we must nerf it with respect to the TTK, and likewise buff it to get there. So I'm sure Trek are continuing to monitor and develop everything that's going on. They seem to have been relatively responsive so far to the competitive community, and I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of AK-47 nerf comes relatively soon, but I do think we're in for a more assault rifle dominated year, which certainly favours some teams. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Underhill, one shot, underhill, Tommy.
Kill hill.
Dead,
One more time. Ace him, hurt.
Look at break.
Dead.
Come on, too. Nice up.
Street,
Hold the
dead.
right. Good job. Hold the right side of the map. Hold the right side of the
Deep
map.
mid, play.
Dead. Oh my god, baby,
Here goes
clip
Seth,
that,
come on,
come on!
Clip right here, come on.
Yo, hold the right side. Hold the right side.
I'm trying to.
In
I fell
time,
right.
dead, one on the
Nope.
barrels, weak!
Nothing right.
Wait, what was that?